good afternoon, good evening, good whenever it is you're tuning in. Welcome to Ticket Price, the only show that cuts through the fat and asks the question, are these movies any damn good? Are they worth the cost of the ticket to see them? I am your co-host, Jake. With me, as always, at Master Control is the Tevis. You handsome bastard. How are you, sir?
How much money do you want?
Oh, I wouldn't come to you. I know how much this show makes.
I am doing fantastic.
Fan-fucking-tastic. Let's do it. I'm excited. We are talking about Gladiator.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
With Russell, people stuff.
Oh, this is Russell Crowe one?
The Russell Crowe.
Oh, shit.
As explained by the Tevis.
I watched the Cuba Gooding Jr. one.
There's a Cuba Gooding Jr. movie called Gladiator?
Yeah. It's a boxing movie.
I'd watch that.
I think it was Cuba Gooding Jr.
Everybody likes Cuba.
I know Brian Dennehy was in it.
Who?
Yeah. You don't know who Brian Dennehy is?
No.
Oh. Yeah, he was in Gladiator.
With Russell Crowe?
No. That's Joaquin Phoenix.
Who? No, I'm kidding. That one I'm kidding. I don't know who else you were talking about. So, no rabbit holes, no pitfalls, no weird motel stories. We're getting right into the episode.
Let's cut the fat.
We're cutting the fat. There will be no fat on this episode. It's going to be a lean, mean, fighting machine of an episode. It's going to be in gladiatorial combat-ready physical form. I do want to get this out of the way. A tie for the Meredith Burton Award for having the most movies talked about on the podcast. Russell Crowe. Sure enough, that is a picture of Cuba in a boxing movie called Gladiator.
Yeah, with James Marshall.
Who?
Exactly. Even
that guy.
Even his mother is like, who? Anyway, sorry.
We're cutting. That's fat.
I know.
We're cutting the fat.
Let's cut this fat.
Stop adding fat to everything. Put the butter down. No more butter.
You think I built this body with no butter?
This is the house that butter built, baby.
I am all fat.
I'm gonna come back next visiting time. I'm bringing your fat ass some cookies, man. We appreciate this.
You want to get to the meat of the matter? There's a lot of digging. Get to that. All right. Gladiator from 2000.
Seems so long ago.
Man, it seems like a lifetime ago.
I felt it too watching this. Like
How
just
so?
just some of the visual effects.
Oh, that's fair.
Just kind of,
Yeah.
not that they were bad, but they've aged a bit.
Honestly, to me though, it's like this, it's like Avatar. That's not derogatory. For once, I'm not making a derogatory statement about Avatar, it's just a statement of fact. We're looking at an older movie that had, for its time, impressive special effects. But this is almost 30 years after the fact.
Right.
And so, for Gladiator, it's 23 years after the fact. Yeah, they've got a little age to them. But I don't think that's necessarily wrong. Like,
Oh, no.
when I still watch Jason and the Argonauts, because that fight scene with the skeletons is fantastic. You want to talk about fantastic? That's a fantastic scene, but it's still aged. That doesn't mean it's bad.
No, I agree.
But let's face it, they're not Jurassic Park either. Suck it. The pinnacle of special effects, Jurassic Park. What are we talking about?
Gladiator.
Damn it, that's fat! Stop adding fat! Everything you do is fat!
I can't help it.
So you need to get used to that. And I don't care what diet you go on, you can sew up your stomach and your asshole, you're going to always be fat.
Put the butter down.
I like cheese on everything.
So no, Russell Crowe, we do want to extend to you your Tide Award for the Meredith Burton.
Jesus.
You and about 15 other people at this point. I'm ready to watch another Russell Crowe so someone can actually be the definitive winner of this damn
No
thing.
shit. We're watching nothing but Russell Crowe movies from here on out. That way he's the top of the list.
I already named the two other ones I know.
We can do some more digging.
All right. Written by David Frenzon, John Logan, and William Nicholson. Directed by Ridley Scott. Question.
Answer.
Is this Ridley Scott's best movie?
Damn it, that was my first note.
Is it really?
It is. Ridley Scott's best? Question mark.
It's either this or Alien.
They both have the exact same rating on IMDb. 8.5.
Oh. Damn, you're cutting into my biz.
You cut into my biz.
Biz! I do an intro biz.
You're cutting into my fat. I'm cutting into your biz.
Not my biz! Not the fat! The fat biz!
But
We'll start a food podcast called Fat Biz.
Nobody will know what the hell it means.
We know?
Know what means. I don't know. No.
Opulent.
Beans and Franks. I don't know. I have no idea.
Starring Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. Now, I went back to our usual method of I list the top 2 actors or actresses in a film. I did that because most of the other roles in this are lighter, but man, you want to talk about a movie where absolutely no one qualifies for the Shelley Duvall Award for being totally fine. There is not a fine link in this chain. Not even the child actor. Child actors notoriously suck.
Yeah, no, even the big giant barbarian at the beginning of it is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
It's Oliver Reed as Proximo. Oh my
Mhm.
God, he was so good.
I can't think of his name, but the gentleman who plays Marcus Aurelius, he always
Richard
kills.
Harris.
He always kills it.
Yeah, he was. Wasn't he Dumbledore?
He
for
was
a
the
while?
OG Dumbledore. Yeah, and then he died
Well,
yeah.
so did Oliver Reed during the filming of this.
during
movie.
the filming of it,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about that too, because I do want to get into the film making around that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
But no, so while I listed 2, everyone in this movie deserves their credits because so good. Ratings, as Tevis stated, IMDb is 8.5.
God, I already said that. What are you doing?
This is low.
It is very low.
And you know what? If 8.5 is the rating for Gladiator and Alien, IMDb, I'm glad Tevis deleted your app off his phone.
Twice.
It's about to be 3.
Thrice times.
I have deleted you thrice from my life, winch, and yet you crawl your way back into my heart.
Damn, Marcus Aurelius right here.
I'm about to write a really dramatic monologue. Hold on. Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, wait a minute. Does the 8.5 on IMDb make you mad or irritate you?
It irritates me.
Because it's wrong?
Right.
What would you, honest opinion, spoilers for final thoughts of the movie, but where would you comfortably, not even, just where do you think this movie should be, ballpark?
Oh, easily in the 9, like low 9.
Like 9 to 0.2?
Yeah, 9.2. Add an extra 10.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes, 80%.
Bullshit! Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, I can't wait till we get to the reviews.
God.
So keep your bile down,
Okay.
but keep the taste in your mouth. Please don't do that ever again. If you could not do that anymore, that would be just swell. Gee willikers, that would be swell.
Thanks, Beeve.
I like my Leave It to Beaver characters like I like my mashed potatoes. Lumpy! That's still my favorite joke. And every time we laugh, I pass a little gas. I'm having some tummy troubles.
I just hope that's not lumpy.
I did borrow some of your drawers earlier. We're very close. Budget. A whopping estimated $103 million to make this bad boy.
I see it.
Worldwide gross, $503.1 million. 5 times its money.
I feel like that's low. I feel like it should have earned more.
Like you feel like it deserved to earn more?
I do.
Okay, that's fair. But I mean, it's like, man, we spent $100 million. Man, that's a bunch of money. How did it make 500? Oh,
Yeah.
well, shit.
Yeah,
How does this not have 15 sequels already?
Well, they do have a second one coming.
I heard that, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, because
I don't know anything about it.
Well, obviously, it can't follow the same storyline because
The only returning character, I cannot remember her name.
the sister?
Lucilia?
Yeah, Lucille. Yeah,
She's going to be coming back.
fair. She's the only one that's still alive, both in life and in character.
It's true.
Half of this movie's cast is either dead in real life or their characters died. She's like the one in the middle that isn't either of those.
And from what little bit I did see of it, I saw Denzel was attached to this.
I like that.
I do too.
I'm in. Sold.
Yeah.
Sold. Denzel, we talk every time you come up, we talk about this. We love you, Den. Denzel, I'm never gonna call you Den again. I don't
do that.
I don't know.
Don't do
Man, he's never gonna come on the show now.
What's up, dude?
Shut up, Bob De Niro, you fuck.
At least that's a name. You said den. Like he's a fucking study. Hey, den. I gotta go to the den.
I apologize. I'm never apologizing to you again, but I am going to apologize to my man Den. And we invite you, as always, please, if you ever want to be on this show and talk about anything, we would love to have you. I bet that would be a delightful time.
Yeah. And,
And I won't call you Den.
We'll promote whatever movie you want to talk about. All 13 of our followers will enjoy it.
That's right.
13, brother. Yeah.
I can't tell if you're amped about our growth, if you're just real bummed that it's only... Quit giving away our numbers, man. we talk in Vegas.
Oh, I'm sorry. All 12. They don't know if it's 13 or 12.
Could be 11.
Could be.
Ooh.
Could be 14. Fuck.
Whoa.
We're a
let's
mystery here.
Let's not. Well, Denzel's obviously going to follow us now.
Yeah.
Den.
Your boy Den.
My boy Den. And Mel follows us. Mel doesn't follow. Mel Gibson, if you would like to join us for an episode, that would just be swell. We can talk about our mutual love of the Stooges and Lumpy Rutherford. Damn it, this is all fat. Trim the fat. No more fat.
No more fat. Where you at? Where we got awards?
Awards. Oh. 60 wins. 60 wins. With an additional 104 nominations.
Okay. I kind of want to shine a light on the Academy Award. Russell Crowe won for Best Actor.
Best lead actor.
He beat out Ed Harris in Pollock.
Beating out Ed Harris in anything is that's a monumental achievement in of itself, because as we've talked about before on the show, Ed Harris is the man.
Absolutely.
And if Ed wants to join us on the show at any time, I won't call you Den.
He beat out Javier Bardem in Before Night Falls. Jeffrey Rush in Quills. I've never seen that one.
I don't
or
know
Night
who that
Falls.
is or what that movie is.
Jeffrey Rush. He was Barbosa in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Gross.
And he beat out Tom Hanks in Castaway.
Ooh.
Yeah. It won Best Costume Design, Best Visual Effects.
Best Picture.
Best Picture. It beat out Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
No surprise. That movie's wildly over. Even in kung fu movies, martial arts movie circles, that movie's wildly overrated.
I cannot speak to any of that because I've never seen that one. I've never seen Traffic. No, I have seen Traffic. Let me rephrase it. Sorry. I get Traffic and Crash mixed up. So
You're just saying words.
No, Crash was a movie that won Best Picture. Chocolat.
Bless you?
Yeah. And Aaron Brockovich. It beat out.
I've heard of
those
that
four.
one, yeah.
It also won for Best Sound.
There you go. And you know what? Joaquin Phoenix got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor, but did not win.
He lost to Benicio del Toro in Traffic. I
haven't seen it. I can't.
I've seen it, but I can't speak to. It's been so long, and I've only watched it once. But man, Joaquin Phoenix was robbed. I'm sorry. I can't speak to it, but I'm going to.
Well, you're going to.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh, and Ridley Scott was nominated for Best Director. He lost to Steven Soderbergh for Traffic.
Apparently, I really need to watch Traffic. That was
Meh.
but it won all that stuff.
Meh.
All right. Is this Ridley Scott's best movie?
Yes.
Over Alien?
Yes,
You love Alien.
I do.
Over $14.92?
What? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yeah.
Yeah.
This movie has a lot more heart and a lot more great moments of character.
Yeah, please continue.
What?
No, I want you to get all these thoughts out.
That's it. That's all I got.
Review time, Ebert gave this movie 2 stars. Said it's like watching Rocky on or he said this movie is like Rocky on Downers. And that the Coliseum looks like a computer model from a video game. He goes on in great depth to describe that all of these characters are miserable and depressed, and that makes for bad characters, and that this movie isn't dramatic, it's depressed, and that those are different things. and that everyone is just unbelievably miserable.
Really?
He did this in its characters. And he hated the way the Coliseum was. And what he had a quote that says the only time Russell Crowe looks completely not believable is when he's trying to portray true happiness. I don't even know what that means.
What did you just say?
What is that again?
Ebert, he said Russell Crowe, the only time his like acting falters or looks forced is when he's trying to portray true happiness.
This guy's a tool. Was a tool. Sorry.
Oh. No, please. What? Tell us more about your thoughts on this movie before I go into the next.
Oh
one.
no. Now I'm getting my the bile. The bile.
You got that taste?
Yeah.
Thank you for not making the sound effect. I gave you a pregnated pause there for you to do it, and you didn't, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
The Hollywood Reporter. This movie is impressive in scope, but like the Gladiator games themselves, designed for mindless spectacle to please the multitudes.
Okay. Is that supposed to be a knock?
Yes.
Okay, because I kind of took it that way.
So they said Gladiator is just a mindless spectacle of a movie. There's no heart, there's no soul, there's no thinking involved. It's just look at action.
No, I disagree with that.
Yeah, I do too.
Did they stop watching it after the Coliseum?
Oh, if this is their thought, they didn't make it to the Coliseum. They watched the opening fight.
Yeah, the opening battle, and they're like, "Okay, I've seen it."
Yeah,
Get up and leave after they
yeah,
finish their popcorn.
probably.
Because these are the type of assholes that eat the popcorn through the previews, and then they have nothing left. Oh wait, that's me. Never mind.
You fat.
Backtrack.
So I'm not gonna lie. I was incredibly surprised at these reviews and the ratings. Mostly the reviews, though. The ratings, I was like, man, that seems low. But the reviews, I'm like, what? Really?
I feel like they weren't watching the same movie. I don't know. I don't know what
It does
to say.
feel that way.
Maybe they were watching the Cuba Gooding Jr. Are you sure you got the right reviews? I bet you they were watching that Cuba Gooding Jr. boxing movie.
Okay. Maybe. I mean, I don't know if the boxing movie has any images of the Coliseum in it.
Well, that might be the name of the venue. We don't know.
You know what? I don't know. I have not seen that movie. The only Cuba Gooding Jr. movie I can name is Radio.
Oh my God.
What? Radio was a fine. It was a good movie. It has Ed Harris.
It's not a good movie.
What?
No.
What do you mean it's not a good movie?
Oh, I cannot stand it. It's terrible.
Is it because he went full?
Yes. He went full.
You never go full.
No.
I also like how we quote that movie frequently. Tropic Thunder. That movie sucks. Tropic Thunder sucks.
I like Tropic Thunder.
You would. You absolute pleb.
This is fat.
Oh, damn it! Trim the fat! No fat! We're going to be in shape. We're going to be lean. We're going to be ready for the Coliseum. History on this movie. Go! Without any fat.
I don't remember.
Too much fat! Shut up!
Movie good.
Wardrobe back!
No, I don't remember if I watched this movie in the theater. I don't think I did. I just remember I watched it. I don't know where I was.
saw it in theaters.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think I should have. I know I should have, but I'm jealous that you did and you remember it.
You absolute.
But I remember watching it for the first time and just being blown away by the sheer size of the movie, because it reminds me of like Spartacus and Cleopatra and all those movies back in the day when they had to actually build all the sets and have all of the extras and it kind of makes me sad that we don't see a whole lot of that anymore.
Like the sword and sandal, or the sword and sandal style.
Yeah.
I love that genre.
I do too.
I think we need more sword and sandal.
I do too. But like I said, I've watched this movie multiple times, but I know I haven't watched it in at least 10 years until now. I don't think I'm going to be making that mistake again, though.
Well, I feel like, okay, knowing you'd watched the movie before, but it had been that much of a gap, I feel like coming in, you've got to have a pretty fresh, unbiased opinion on it.
Oh, there's lots of things I did not remember.
Yeah.
At all. Like that whole third act, I was just like, I have no idea where this is going.
Oh, you didn't remember the end?
It was like I watched it almost from the end of the Coliseum fight, the first time they're at the Coliseum on. Yeah. It felt brand new.
I'm not gonna lie, that actually makes me jealous. To be able to experience that kind of for the first time again.
And that's what I told you. Like my notes for this are at the Coliseum, they stop because I put everything down and I was just hooked. And I contemplated rewatching it again to take notes, but I didn't have time. But yeah, I after that first Coliseum fight, I'm like, I got to pay attention to what's actually happening, and I'm not bothering with notes. And my eyes were just glued, and I don't even know if I blinked.
There was no time. You might miss something.
I can't afford to blink. I might miss Russell Crowe and his manliness,
Joaquin Phoenix,
and his weird, oddly incestuous.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah,
we will get there. So
your history.
Saw this movie in theaters.
Okay.
Big fan of the sword and sandal genre. And I bet I don't revisit this movie yearly. I was about to say I revisit yearly, but I don't think that's true. I should. But this one's on my, it's on my list of I try to rewatch it when I think about it. But no, I love this movie. Always have. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of jealous for you to be able to sit and be like, oh man, and have no idea, to go into it that kind of clean with no real memory of it. Oh, to experience it again like that. So if anyone listening, because obviously this show, if this is your first episode, I don't like spoiler alerts because you're listening to a podcast about movies. So if you don't want spoilers, why the hell are you listening to a movie podcast? And also, this movie is 23 years old. Like, what are we spoiling? Well, I'm not going to get worked up about that. But if you haven't seen this movie, period, pause our episode right now. All right. Welcome back. I'm assuming you have now watched Gladiator, and you're super pumped to hear us talk about it, because this movie is great. Are you ready to dive in, sir?
Let's do it.
We get the opening scene of the Roman army. They're making their final preparations for battle. The catapults are loading, the archers are getting ready, the legionnaires are in their shield wall. They're just waiting for a messenger. And there's a headless corpse riding a horse.
There's the message.
How awful. Okay, I don't know anything about anything, but if I have to believe that if you lived back in the day, messenger is the worst job you could ever have.
Oh.
Name one instance where the messenger isn't brutalized.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole don't kill the messenger. But
Except everyone does.
Except everyone does.
So the Romans are finishing their campaign in Gaul, which is kind of a large area that encompasses modern-day France and Germany. For those of you who didn't know, like Tevis.
Oh, I didn't know that, no.
Oh, did you not? Yeah.
No, I did not.
So ancient Gaul, or Gaul is basically that ancient France-Germany area.
Okay, good to know.
But if you go far enough north into Germany, it becomes Germania.
Okay, because I do remember them saying that
Yeah.
when they were taking over the horde.
Yeah.
The barbarian horde.
Well, that was against Carthage.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Carthage is basically the Mediterranean coast of Africa. No, I take that back. Egypt is the Mediterranean coast. If you follow it out of the Mediterranean, kind of halfway in between Egypt and Spain, that area. So I think it's still technically the Mediterranean, but it's more close to the coast of like the island of Sicily.
Okay.
That was Carthage. Was there. So actually, Africa was home to two Mediterranean powerhouse empires in its day, with Egypt and Carthage. And so we see the battle ensue. I'm kind of going through this part kind of quick because let's face it, the meat of this episode and this movie is not the... Although, what a fantastic opener. Absolute hot fire of an opening. Let's watch the Roman armies unleash hell.
Literally, yeah. I
Literally.
mean, this opening battle is better than some entire movies that
About battles,
but some ending battles of some movies. It's way better.
Mm-hmm. Laughably. I think this movie is also one of them. I know a lot of military experts and historians always give movies a hard time for not accurately portraying like fire arrows and flaming ballista or flaming siege engine shots and stuff of that nature. Which I guess that's an odd nitpick in my mind.
I agree.
Because Hollywood doesn't portray realism. It portrays a Hollywood realism, as in, how can we make this look the best? Because we are a visual medium of entertainment.
I have a story.
Is it fat?
It is a little bit of fat, but it has something to do with what we're talking about realism versus Hollywood.
Oh, I'm intrigued now, yeah.
So, Lost World, Jurassic Park 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to visit the dinosaurs.
I know, right? So me and a friend of mine went and seen this movie at the theater. And
you went and saw this movie.
I did. I went and seen this movie.
No, you went and saw this movie.
I saw this movie.
Yeah.
We're at the theater. So we're at the theater. We're watching this, and the part where they had the trailer. Remember where the T-Rexes knocked the trailer off the cliff?
Yeah.
And the tires go over the cliff a little bit. And I cannot remember the character's name, but he's in the Jeep or the BMW.
Yeah, he's got the tow cable.
Yeah. And he hooks it up to this trailer and he's pulling and pulling and pulling. And it's, it's wet and slick and the car's sliding back and forth. And the wheels come back up off of the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
My friend leans over to me and he goes, "That's complete bullshit. That would never happen." And then a minute later, two T-Rexes come out, tear the car apart, pick the guy up out of the car, flip him in the air. One grabs one part of him, the other grabs the other part of him and rip him in half. And the same guy leans over to me and goes, that was cool. Right. Really? So it's the whole part with realism and
Yeah.
just enjoy the damn movie,
Right.
you know?
It's like Young Guns.
Yeah.
This gun didn't exist until 1849, and this movie takes place in 1847. Shut up.
So stupid.
Get off the
I
internet.
hate that shit.
I know you do, which is why I brought that up.
I know why you did.
Also, Jurassic Park: The Lost World. That guy had an undeserved death. Jurassic Park after one, has a history of brutal deaths to characters that don't deserve it.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. And I actually watched Lost World like 2 days ago. Me and the kid. I wanted to show her that.
Why?
Honestly,
was she bad?
Well,
were you punishing her?
No, honestly, I wanted to show her that trailer scene without, just how tense
Did you
it
lean
was.
over and you were like, that's total bullshit. Tires wouldn't do that.
No, that's what she did to me.
She was like, Dad, that's complete ass.
There's no way those tires would come back over like that. Stupid ass. Not my kid, but that guy. Not my kid. Kid, I love you.
She's one of our listeners, so she'll.
Yeah.
Also, why do you make her listen to the show?
Gotta get those listens up. Gotta get those views up. That's how I punish her. What do you mean you didn't do the dishes? Get in there and listen to our new episode.
Did you know we have a new top 10? Get in there.
What do you mean you got a B on your homework? Get in there and listen to the new top 10.
I'm pretty sure that's child abuse.
That's fine.
It's fine, he says. Woo. Wait, is this fat?
It is now.
No! Get rid of the fat! But no, I do just want to take a quick moment to point out that opening battle scene when the volley of arrows and artillery fill the sky. Awesome.
Oh, yeah, and the camera's
Epic.
Going across. And, oh, yeah.
No, even before that, I mean, it's panned up at the sky, the camera is, and then the screen just fills with flaming projectiles.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. But yeah, then the ensuing carnage. Like the two guys that get hit with the scorpion ballista bolt that punches through both of them and pins them together.
That was great.
I can only hope that they were friends. Because if they hated each other, what an awkward way to die. Pinned together.
I wonder if they're stuck that way in the afterlife.
I don't think that's how souls work.
I mean, I don't know. They're probably both stuck together, waving their hand across wheat.
Wait! You're saying even in Elysium, running their hands across the top of the golden fields of wheat, they're still pinned back to back. Well,
Yeah.
I really do hope they were friends, because if they hated each other, this is real awkward. It's only more awkward when they go through the door and meet, and the love of their life is waiting for them, but there's only one woman there.
And she's like, oh.
I never thought you'd both be in the same room.
I have to tell you both something.
Oh, Lord. But the Romans win the day,
Yay!
as they did so many times. And we see our man, Russell Crowe, playing the character Maximus Decimus Meridius, greatest protagonist name in the history of cinema.
Pretty cool name.
Maximus Decimus Meridius, the MDM.
It's no Doug Quaid, but, it's fine.
Shut up about Doug Quaid. No one knows who that is.
That's Arnold Schwarzenegger's
No one knows
character
who that is.
in Total Recall.
What a terrible movie.
I'm going to be nice and refrain from saying what I really wanted to say.
Because it's fat. We see Maximus interact with the Emperor Marcus Aurelius. And we can see they very much have a father-son kind of relationship.
Yeah, when Maximus, Marcus asks Maximus about his home, you could tell he's like genuinely interested.
Oh, yeah.
Wants to know what he's planning on doing after the war.
What a fantastic moment of acting. And there's no dialogue. We've talked about it before with in past episodes about great performances. But watch his face. The camera is on Marcus, but Maximus is talking. And so you hear Maximus talking, but all we get are the expressive reactions from the Emperor. And they look so genuine.
Oh, yeah.
And interested, and he's enjoying what he's hearing, and he's he's entertained by it, but not like maliciously or ironically. So, he is relishing in the joy that his friend or surrogate son kind of person is feeling while talking. The soil is black, Marcus, black like my wife's hair, and he is just beaming. Marcus Aurelius is what's his name again? I'm sorry, the actor's name.
Richard Harris.
Richard Harris is beaming, but that beam is a reflection of the light coming from his friend while telling this story, while talking. What a fantastic moment of just genuine acting and selling the scene. And you don't say a single word. Your performance is just as important. For all of our actors and actresses out there, maybe I'll share a stage with you one day. I'm hoping to get back into that, but I have no time for anything. I'm not going to lie. I barely have time for this show. Life is crowded. But your performance is just as important when you're the focus of it, and as it is when you're not the focus of it. Go ahead.
I don't remember where I heard it, but I've always heard like acting is reacting.
Yes.
You say your lines, but you also have to react to the other person saying their lines.
It's fat, but bear with me.
That's fine.
I want to also bring up another. I love this story and I love this movie, so it's worth bringing up. And I hope we cover the movie. Actually, I know for a fact we're going to cover the movie sometime. It's in the hat. The Green Mile.
Oh, okay.
If you watch the extras, and there's a little snippet from the director, and he's talking about the monologue where John Coffey is talking about there's so much hate in the world, and it all hurts like shards of glass in his head all the time. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he said they filmed this scene a couple times, but the camera was always just on Michael Clark Duncan. R.I.P. Michael Clark Duncan. I like Michael Clark Duncan.
Oh, I did too.
But he realized, but while the camera is just solely on Michael Clark Duncan, Tom Hanks is in the scene and he's sitting on the other side of the bars. And no one if anyone else noticed it, he didn't mention it, but the director mentioned, he's like, I couldn't help but notice Michael's performance was amazing. But then I looked over and I saw the performance Tom Hanks was giving him to play off of. The camera wasn't on Tom. It was never on Tom. And yet the cry, but in the final shot in the movie, it cuts to both of them. And we see Paul Edgecombe, Tom Hanks's character, he's crying and he's commiserating and he empathizes. Without the camera on him, without any plan for him being in the shot, he was still doing that performance and was feeding Michael Clark Duncan that energy to empower his performance.
That's awesome.
That is such a selfless performance. And it was so amazing. I think the director's exact quote from the little snippet is like, Tom Hanks was giving an Oscar-worthy performance and we weren't capturing it. I had to put it in. I had to. And so he does. But whether that shot's in the scene or not, the energy that the actors who aren't the focal point project will feed and empower and strengthen the actor who is the focal point, who is giving that monologue, or who is doing the action of that scene, who's carrying the weight of that scene. That energy feeds. It's so important.
Oh, I agree. And there's certain actors, like, who was he? Played the Godfather. I'm
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando.
You have that A+ impression of Marlon Brando, if I recall.
Yes. But he was notorious for not wanting to work. He was notorious for like trying to get out of doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, there would be like dialogue scenes where the camera would cut to him and he would do his lines, and then instead of him being in the camera shot with the other person, it would just cut to one of them. Because that motherfucker wouldn't even be there. The person's trying to act to him, and he's not there. They just have like the camera, the boom mic guy standing there, some shit.
Yeah, and I have a feeling like if he was in Tom Hanks's role, he'd have been like, I'm not in this scene. I'll be in my trailer.
Exactly.
And that's crap.
That's such a shit mentality.
Yes.
And it not only does it make you look like an asshole, but you're also hindering your fellow co-stars' performances and ultimately hindering your own fucking movie.
Absolutely.
Or play or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. Absolutely.
Do your goddamn jobs.
Please.
Otherwise, we're going to talk all this shit.
We just want you to do your job. Our bar is really low.
That is a low bar. Just be present and do your job.
Do your job.
So, okay, back to Gladiator. Camera cuts, and we get our first shot of Commodus and Lucilla on their
in their wagon on the way.
It's more like a stagecoach. Carriage.
Wagon sounds a little on the low.
And stagecoach sounds a little too old westy.
Too old west.
Carriage. But if you also notice, this thing is big and armored.
Yeah.
Almost like it's carrying the Emperor's children.
Oh, too bad it wouldn't have killed one of them.
Honestly, if for one to die, the other also died, that would have been okay.
Oh, well.
It would have been okay. So now the military camp is celebrating their victory. The war is over. They've won. And I wrote on here. Also, real quick, in the carriage, we see Commodus already scheming because he's like, well, father wouldn't have called us all the way out here unless, he was going to name me emperor. I'm going to be emperor, right? You think he's going to name me emperor? I'm going to be the emperor, right? What should I do as the emperor? Emperor, and she's even like, your constant scheming is giving me a headache. He's also getting weird with her a little bit.
Yeah, it starts real quick.
He's getting a smidge uncomfortable with his sister. But now we see they're at the camp. Commodus approaches him with a couple of senators, and he's like, Maximus, has been so long. We're totally like brothers. You're my brother. We're like brothers. Our father loves both of us equally as sons, which makes us brothers equally as we share in our father's love equally, totally equal parts love, and we're brothers. And Maximus is like, yeah, yup.
You weeb.
Yeah, unlovable bug. Right? And then who's creeping on him from behind the curtain? But Lucilla, and she just, with her servant, her handmaiden or whatever, and they're just creeping on him. And they're like, oh, he's so sexy. It's General Maximus. And then he gets called in to the Emperor's tent by Marcus, and they have that scene like we were talking about. But ultimately, Marcus Aurelius is like, Commodus sucks. Let me paraphrase the lines. I would like to name you Emperor. Do you accept? Go ahead, Maximus.
I don't remember what he says.
You're paraphrasing.
Oh. Well, what about your little bitch-ass son?
No, he sucks. And you've always known that he sucks. Even when he was a wee lad, we were like, that kid sucks. And obviously, I don't want my heir to be that suck-ass kid. I want you. Does he not even say, you are the son I should have? Oh, no,
Yeah,
he
he
says
did.
that to Lucilla, the sister. No,
he says it to Maximus.
he says it to me. You are the son. I
Yeah.
should have.
Yeah. And then he even says to Lucilla, like, if
only
if
you had
were
been born a man. He was willing to give that throne to anyone
Anybody.
other. If he was like, wait, you look strapping. Would you like to be emperor?
Yeah.
No. What about you over there?
Hey, strange man eating your own feces. Come over here.
Have you ever thought of being emperor? So my shit son Commodus is not.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted to get far, far away from that kid.
Also, he does very, no paraphrasing, no joking, but he does clearly state when talking to Lucilla about the decision. He says, your brother's going to need you now more than ever. I'm not going to name him emperor. Commodus is not a moral man. Maybe he was still talking to Max. He's talking to what? He says a lot of the same things. He's an old man and he repeats himself, but he's talking to one of them. As old people do, they repeat themselves a lot. And Ridley Scott is just on point with it.
Yeah,
so
he doesn't actually say that to Lucilla.
He says it to Maximus.
Yeah, because I went back and rewatched it again because I was like, wait a minute, did he actually say anything to her?
Yeah.
He does say
He says
whole...
it to Maximus.
Yes.
He says, Commodus is not a moral man. You have known this since you were young. He'll accept my decision. What a contradictory statement!
Yeah. You're not a moral man, but you will accept my decision.
How can he think this guy, who he knows is not a moral man, will accept the decision? My thought would be that guy has no morals. He will 100% not accept this. He will not be okay with this.
I feel there were a lot of mistakes made by Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Several.
Yeah. He should have said something to Commodus in front of other people.
No, he should have said something to Maximus in front of other people.
And he should have said something to Maximus in front of other people. He should have just up and announced it to to the world, to the whole
everyone.
army. And maybe he should have loved his son a little more. I don't know.
Right? Maybe he should have been a better... He even says,
he does say it.
What's he say? Your faults as a son
Are my faults as a
my
father.
failures
As a
your
father.
faults as a son are my failures as a father.
Yeah.
Which is, that's pretty hard hitting. But it's also true.
It's also true, yeah.
It's also true. It's also true.
But was that your Janet Jackson?
No, that is a deep cut of a Tenacious D reference, and I will not be taking any questions on that. Though if you know, you know. Moving on.
Okay.
I wrote on here, so okay. Stick with me here. We're going to move fast.
Okay.
Thomas and Lucilla come to the camp.
What are you, scat man?
Commodus and Lucilla come to the camp. Commodus is like, brother, we're totally loved equally. Here's some senators, and we're totally equally loved. Boom, there's Lucilla creeping on him in the handmaid with the thing and the thing. And then the emperor's like, hey, come talk to me. I don't want Commodus to be the emperor because that guy sucks. I want you to be emperor. Then Lucilla's like, hey, you were talking to my father. What were you talking about? We haven't seen each other in a long time. Isn't it weird how close I'm standing to you? And then he's like, gotta go, and tries to do his own fucking thing. And then they're like, Maximus, the emperor needs you. And he goes. And then it's not the emperor at all. It's Commodus. He's like, mourn with me, brother, because we're totally loved equally by the same man that makes us brothers, because we're like sons to him, and two are totally equally loved. Our father has passed. You should go see him. I'm the emperor now. And he goes, he's like, oh my God, how did he die? He's like, he passed away in his sub. And then Lucilla comes, and she's like, well, do the shit and the stuff. And I wrote down here, oh my God, poor Maximus cannot get away from this family. What the hell is this family's obsession with this poor man? Just leave him alone.
Well, he's the hero of Rome.
Oh, fucking Lucius. We'll get there. But like, just What is with these three people's problem? Maximus has three stalkers, and they're all the royal family.
Yeah, because Lucilia definitely wants some more.
Oh yeah, her husband's been dead a while.
Yeah.
And she misses that D.
Yeah. And I think they had a thing.
Yeah, they dated.
Yeah,
they were together once upon a time.
Before he was married.
Yeah. Before she was married. Yeah.
But was there any side play?
What do you mean?
Was he doing some stuff that he shouldn't be doing?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Oh no, I took it as like they were young, like
Okay.
maybe like a teenage,
Teenage love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Young, unrequited. And then they were like, "Oh, our lives are leading us in wildly different paths, and you need to go marry whoever, and I'm going to marry this raven-haired Spanish woman."
Hair like dirt.
That's not what he said, you ignorant wretch. Should I do more reviews talking as fast as I can?
For people who like to listen to their podcasts on 2 times the speed.
Oh, when you edit, show me the clip of this. I said I was going to go very fast. But no, this family won't leave him alone. But, as I stated, Emperor dies. Because there was no public announcement and no written will, no one knows Maximus was supposed to be the heir. So now Commodus is. But Maximus is like, fuck you, fuck pants. Our emperor was murdered, and I will get to the bottom of it.
One person knew.
Lucilia.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait a minute. I didn't. That bitch.
Yeah, because
she could have prevented all of this.
Yeah, she knew everything.
What a whore.
Because she smacks Commodus.
She knows. Yeah, because she knows
exactly what he did.
Although, wait a minute. The emperor never specifically tells her that he's going to name Maximus as heir. He just says that Commodus is going to need her now more than ever.
Yes.
But maybe she didn't.
Why would she smack him?
Well, because she's definitely aware that,
She knows.
Yeah. What a bitch. What is wrong with this family? Leave Maximus alone.
She could have prevented all of it.
And she's the one who doesn't get got in the end. She's the only one that doesn't get got in the end. Well, now going very fast. Maximus is arrested in his tent while his manservant's like, I will kill them. And he was like, don't kill them. You're going to get yourself killed. And then they arrest him and they ride till dawn. And then they were going to cut his head off. But he's like, please give me a clean death, a soldier's death. And they were like, yeah, okay, we can do that because you were a general and you won all these battles and you won the war for us. That's no problem. So the guy, instead of going to behead him, gets around behind him so he could stab him through the neck. And I guess, not being beheaded is more clean and more honorable that way. But when the blade comes out, Maximus stands up and just headbutts the shit out of that guy and gets the blade and kills that guy. And then the other Praetorian guard's trying to pull his blade and he's like, oh, the frost sometimes it makes the blade stick. Ha 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 ha. You don't know how to fight in the cold. And then kills that guy. And then all of a sudden this other Praetorian's on a horse. He's like, I'm going to take a drink from my water skin. And then he's like, do you hear a sound? And then there's a sword flying through the air and it impales him all the way through the front, out the back, because he twisted and turned. There was body. And then he got another sword. And then there was another Praetorian guard. He was like, Praetorian! And then the sword was like, there's a fucking guy! And he starts charging towards him. But Maximus is more, better warrior and he's more trained because he's seen battle. And these fat guards have been doing nothing but, guarding this weird incestuous brother and sister for a while. And so then he did a dodge, and he dodges the horse and he kills the Praetorian, but he takes a cut on his arm. That's really important. Then he gets his horse and he gets a fresh horse and he rides as fast as he can to Spain. They're in France and or Germany. He's quite a ways from Spain. But he rides, and he's got his horse, he's got his fresh horse, he's riding, but he's still bleeding the whole time. He's bleeding, he's getting weaker, but he's still riding because he's spurred on to save his friend. And he's riding. And then his horse dies at some point, gives up, but he's got his other horse. And he gets that horse and he's riding, but he's still bleeding out and he's super weak and he's about to pass out on his horse when all of a sudden he has this vision in his mind and he hears his son's voice. He's like, Papa. And then he sees his son get fucking steamrolled by a horse. It's super brutal. And his wife is like, my God. And I imagine she also got steamrolled by a horse. I don't know. So he spurs and he rides faster.
Probably.
And he's riding. And he makes it to the gates. And then that horse dies or something. I don't know, it fell down. I don't know what happened. I'm assuming it died. And then he's at the gates to his estate. And it's a really nice estate. And then he runs. And he's like, oh my God, everything's on fire. And the people are dead. All my servants are dead. He's like, oh God. And there we see the crucified feet of his son and wife.
I'm tired.
So was Maximus.
Russell Crowe is an ugly crier
Yeah.
with the snot rolling.
I appreciate it, though, because it's real.
I did. No, I did too.
Yeah.
I did too.
He was having a good old, hard, ugly cry.
He was. And then he goes up and he like puts his face on her feet.
Yeah.
And then pulls away and there's that
and you're just
string. And you know that woman who's hanging there, the actress is like, ew. I got snot on my toe.
Snot toes. So Commodus had Maximus executed, but that wasn't enough. He then had Maximus's home burnt to the ground, all the slaves murdered. Let's be real, they're slaves.
Oh yeah.
And then he has the wife and son killed, crucified, and at some point in time burnt during all of this.
You want to be thorough.
Yeah. Maybe he should have been more thorough and not being a shit person. And he would have been named Aaron to begin with.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we get to the gladiator parts?
Yes.
Do you want me to get us to the gladiator?
Get there.
No fat. Okay. See, what's going to suck is we're going to do all this as a bit. And then when you go to record, you're going to be like, man, we can't tell anything you're saying. And it's all just nonsense. It's all just noise and it's not usable.
I'll make something up.
Okay. Exhausted and from blood loss, Marcus passes out at the feet of his dead family, where unbeknownst there was a traveling band of slavers. Traveling band of slavers?
Traveling band of slavers.
And they were like, hey, is that guy still alive? And they check it. They're like, oh, he's totally still fucking alive. Should we help him? Yeah, we'll help him by putting his ass on this cart because you've been shanghaied. And so he's shanghaied. And then he's like in and out of consciousness. And then what soon to be his best friend, he didn't know it, but they're about to become best friends. And then he's like, hey, don't touch that wound. Maggots are cleaning it and stuff. You'll see. And he passes out again. He's like, don't die. They'll feed you the lions. Lions are worth more than we are. And he's passing in and out. And he's going through Elysium and he sees the door, but we're not to the door yet. That's at the end of the movie. And we'll get there later. And so then he wakes up and his arm's full of like fucking shit. And he's like, see, I told you it's clean now. And I'm like, I don't know how any of that's clean. His arm wound is stuffed with shit. And all of a sudden, when then they get to some kind of colony, some kind of Roman colony. It looks to be somewhere in Africa, perhaps. Yeah, because it was in Numidia or some shit. And all of a sudden, the trader's like, hey, I'm the guy from the Mummy, and I hung Brendan Fraser and stuff. And then he's just like, you know, hey, I got slaves and stuff. You need slaves. Some are good for fighting, some are good for dying. You need both. And then Oliver Reed was like, you sold me queer giraffes, and they don't mate. They just walk around and they eat and they don't mate. They're not mating. Why don't they mate? Probably because they're queer. They're queer giraffes. That's the thing I'm going to keep saying. And then all of a sudden, he's like, hey, I'm going to grab you by your testicles until you give me a good deal on these queer giraffes. And he's like, I tell you what, I'll give you a better deal on the new slaves I have. So he goes, he's like, look at all these slaves. And he's like, these slaves are rotten, and so they work out a price because of a testicle grab. Best negotiating tactic in the world. Grab the guy by his nuts. And then, male or female, that does work. Just apply the, appropriate amount of pressure. Is it a tender amount of pressure or is it like pressure? So anyway, he buys Maximus and he buys all the slaves and he buys some of the animals. Hopefully they're not queer animals. He doesn't like that. And they go back to his school where they're learning to be gladiators. They're like, haha. And we're here.
I will tell you
I'm exhausted.
the testicle grab
does
not work when you're buying a new car.
False. You didn't apply the right amount of pressure for the moment.
Maybe that was the problem.
Was it a tender moment?
It slowly turned into one.
Then you should have applied gentle pressure.
Oh, okay.
Were you trying to like strong arm a better deal? Then you want a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I don't think I handled that correctly.
By handled that, you mean his testicles?
Yes.
Or
I don't think I handled them correctly.
I don't think you did either.
No.
Did they say you queer giraffes?
Where are we at now?
They're at the school.
Oh, the school.
The gladiator school.
Oh, the gladiator school.
What do you mean the school? The gladiator school.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Oliver Reed's character, Proximo, is like, all right, we'll see if any of you are worth a shit. And so they're not tryouts, but he's getting an idea for their medal and is then giving them either painted on their shirt a yellow dot for fodder or a red dot for an actual warrior. Marcus refuses to fight because he's like, this is a joke. I want to die anyway. That's fine. Or Maximus wants to die.
Oh, yeah.
And Maximus is like, I'm not fighting. Fuck you guys. So they give him the yellow dot. And they're like, yeah, he'll die in his first fight. It's no big deal. But he gets chained to his best friend.
What was his name in this?
No idea.
I don't either. I have no clue.
Zero idea.
And I don't even know if it's ever said.
I don't know. If it is, I don't remember it. I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
But basically, they start killing people, and then they were like, did we just become best friends? I think we did.
They were a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, man. Gladiator combat. Didn't matter if it was a group fight, one-on-one, whatever. You did not want to walk into whatever arena you were walking into and the motherfucker across from you have a net. The net might have been the single worst weapon a guy could have.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Well, historically, there are accounts of people just the net. Everyone just told horror stories about it. Like you did not want to be across from a net because it's.
I guess once you're in there and you can't get your sword up or
you can't do anything. You're like, oh, cool, I'm just gonna die now. But that's if they even stretch the net out to actually fully net you in it. They could also sling it like a bolo,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, cool. Now I on the ground because my ankles are fucking tied together. Like, and then it was even that there are accounts if they wanted to put on a good show, they would try to pair certain weapons. Like, we know so and so is really good with knives, so we're going to pair him with this guy who fights like this because that will put on the best show. Nobody wanted to get paired versus a net.
Okay.
Like, yeah, the net was a gladiator's worst nightmare.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And we got to see it a little bit when that guy got netted. And he was like, oh, cool, I'm just stuck in a net as these guys stab me repeatedly. And there's dick all I could do about it.
I really enjoyed every single gladiator fight in this movie.
So let's go at just not a specific one, just in general. Because we've talked about it with other movies, their fight scenes, their combat, whatever. Gladiator has spectacular fight scenes. They're choreographed well. They're shot well. Everyone involved. I think we see the actors doing a lot more, which is always appreciated. But just from concept to planning, design, and then execution is just so far and away above a lot of other movies and a lot of what we see.
Yeah, and I like that every single one that we see is different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, he's fighting this guy, and then the next one's he's fighting another guy, and it's every single one of them. Like, the first one, it's him and his friend hooked together, and then the second one, it's just him taking on a whole 4 or 5 guys at one time.
Yeah, he has to run a gauntlet.
Yeah. And then he's with the chariots and then the lions. Or the Tigers,
Tigers against an ex-champion.
Yeah. That every single one of these is fantastic. And gruesome. Oh my God.
Brutal.
Very.
Brutal.
Especially the chariot one. I feel like the chariot one is above and beyond. It's awesome.
We'll see if it makes it onto the show when we get there. Remind me to tell you a real life gladiator battle involving scythe chariots and an emperor.
I'm intrigued.
We'll get there.
Okay.
It really depends on how much time you want to spend. We see Maximus's base instinct for survival kick in. he's a warrior. That's all he's ever known, other than farming, but that's in between wars. And he was a general of Rome. He fought a lot of wars.
Yeah.
He even, one of his gladiator buddies, the big guy who helped train them, he's from Germania. And he's like, you won battles in Germania? And he even says, I won battles in a lot of countries. Like Maximus, this is what he does. And so I think that base instinct to fight just kicked in, and it kept him alive.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Even when he didn't necessarily want to be alive. And I love this character trait. It's these kind of little things that help make a character for me, and I love that we see it every single time throughout the movie. Before the main battle against the barbarians in the very beginning, all the gladiator fights, even before he throws down with Commodus himself at the very end, he picks up dirt or sand from the ground of wherever he's fighting and rubs it between his hands to get that extra grip for his sword, so to dry the sweat, he's going to have extra grip, so he's not going to drop his weapon, and it looks dope as hell.
Yeah, it's moments like that. I wonder if it was it in the script?
Or was that a Russell Crowe
Or was
thing?
that a Russell Crowe thing?
I would love to know the answer to that. Russell Crowe, when you join us for our show, because obviously you, Den, Bob, Bobby, Mel, we're going to have all kinds of guests.
When Russell Crowe joins the show, we will do Cinderella Man.
Oh, yeah. No, we will do whatever movie Russell Crowe wants to do. I don't even care if it's not a Russell. He might be like, what's one of my all-time favorite movies? This one.
He'll be like, I like Hairspray.
I like Hairspray.
He would.
It's funny.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Then shut your whore mouth. Leave Russell Crowe and I's favorite movie, Hairspray, out of this.
Wait, is that the one that John Travolta played drag?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know why he did that, right? Because it's written in the original theater script that the mom is played by a man.
Oh, really?
Because it's funny. Yeah, so like before it was adapted to a movie, part of the original script is like, yeah, that's part of it. The mom is played by a guy.
That's cool.
Because it's funny, and they did it for the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's not forget, John Travolta's husband in that movie is that guy.
Yeah.
Who I forgot.
Yeah.
Like an asshole.
Good. That's good. You mean to rewind?
No, hold on. I got Christopher Walken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember either.
No, I got there in the end. This is all fat, though. We're not talking about
I'll cut it so it doesn't seem like you, forgot the name.
I completely just fucked that up. Also, my wife wants to point out that you've gotten lazy on bleeping out all the F words.
Yes,
she would like you to get back on that.
Yes, I have.
Because she thinks it's funny or bleeped. So if you could do your job.
It takes so much time.
Do you want Podcast Mom to make dinner or not?
Consider all the F words bleeped.
Hey, we don't have that many.
We don't.
Actually, she listens to another podcast about like parenting and fun activities you can do and dealing with your toddlers and, just trying to keep up on like parenting trends and whatever to help. And she goes, you just have a bunch of women sitting around talking about motherhood. And she goes, they make you and Tevis sound like choir boys.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, we are far less vulgar than parenting podcasts.
Well, yeah, they got to deal with fucking kids.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fucking shit.
We just get to act like kids.
Every day of my life.
Yes.
So, Maximus, back to Gladiator. Maximus has now developed a fan base. He's earned a reputation, and they call him the Spaniard. And he does that big gauntlet fight, I believe. There's like 5 or 6 guys, and he kind of just takes them out one at a time, but he kills them really quick. There's very little show to it. And everyone's just like stunned at what they saw. And then he hucks his sword into the crowd. And my only thought, he like crashes into a table and spills some drinks, and people are like, oh my God, there's a sword. My only thought was, did that not kill someone?
Yeah, as sharp as that blade was.
And as packed as that crowd was in that little area, that definitely cut somebody.
Oh, yeah. And then he turns around and he's like, are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here? I don't know why he said here. We'll ask him about it when he's on. But then everyone's like, oh, what a dick. Or are they?
They love him.
Because then you just start hearing, Spaniard! One guy's the Spaniard! And then the whole crowd explodes. He's basically Stone Cold Steve Austin of the Gladiator world.
Exactly.
He can do no wrong.
I love how, and I'm getting a little ahead. What?
Nothing.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing. I withheld a joke. I kept it in, and it hurt a little bit, and a giggle escaped.
Now I'm curious what the joke was.
It doesn't matter. We're past.
No, I don't remember what I was going to say.
You love.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting a little ahead.
Okay, well, restart.
I love
Wieners.
when... Wow. I walked right into that door.
You walked right into that wiener.
Jesus. Right in the face.
Man bat.
Dong.
Right in the forehead. No, go on.
I'm honestly, I'm a paranoid. I'm a little paranoid now.
Nope, I got it out of my system.
Okay. I very much appreciate wieners.
Yeah, we're adults. You love and appreciate
when Commodus is trying to appeal to the crowd, and it's like Maximus does the exact opposite of whatever Commodus is trying to do, and the crowd just eats it up. Like Maximus is the greatest. Like when Commodus gives the thumbs down to kill the guy, and Maximus throws his sword to the side and it's like, no.
And then you hear, there's someone's like, it's Maximus, the Merciful, and everyone cheers and explodes. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to do, how I want to do it.
And so much as that, it's like, it didn't, even the crowd was chanting kill, and he didn't.
Yeah.
And it's not, I'm trying to think of how to word this. Maximus was so over as a fan favorite gladiator. They didn't care why. They just wanted to cheer Maximus. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
He could have done it. It doesn't matter what he did, whether it was what they wanted or what they thought they wanted or what the emperor wanted. He could have done anything. He could have gone out, just hiked up his tunic and took a huge crap right there in the middle, and they've been like, Maximus, the Bowelful, right? And then people would have erupted because it didn't matter what he did. He was so over as a celebrity, as an athlete, as a gladiator. They just wanted to cheer him. It didn't matter why they were cheering. So then, inadvertently, but Maximus wasn't going to do what Commodus wanted him to do. So by defying Commodus, now the people are like, yeah, he didn't do what that's awesome. He's defying the emperor, And so now the seeds of discontent have been sown inadvertently.
Yeah, and Commodus is pissed.
Yeah, but not like awesome manful piss, whiny boy piss.
Yeah.
Like, people don't love me as much as I love Maximus. Daddy never hugged me,
What's he say? If they're not honest with me, they don't respect me. And how will they ever love me
if they don't
respect me?
Yeah.
Like, what?
He got issues.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. So, I do enjoy this part. So Proximo has a conversation with Maximus. You're killing too fast. I was a gladiator. I earned my freedom. Not because I could kill quickly, but because I knew how to put on a show. And I earned my freedom. If you want to earn your freedom, learn from me and learn to give the people what they want. It's not just about the blood. It's about the spectacle. And then he's like, because we're going back to Rome. We're going to go back to where we belong, the Colosseum. Because Commodus, to celebrate his father's passing, is it 150 days of games?
150 days of games.
But then he's like, which I find, because Proximo's like, which I find funny because it was his father, the wise, all-knowing Marcus Aurelius, that banned us from that banned the games to begin with.
Yeah, it's like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
It's like, I love my father, but
so now they return to Rome, but the reputation of the Spaniard is already at Rome. They're already in Rome, and there's that boy who's like, "You, Gladiator, come here.
yeah,
Are you the one they called the Spaniard?" And he's like,
I can't think of his name.
Lucius.
Lucius, that's right.
He's like, yeah. He's like, they say you're a giant. They say you could crush a man's skull with your bare hand. He's like, a man's? No. A boy's. But I love this interaction because he's not being threatening.
No.
But it's playful, but he's still putting up the persona, if that makes sense.
He's a wrestler.
Yeah, he's a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
And he's like, your father lets you watch the games? Well, my uncle says it'll make me a man. What does your father say? Well, my father's dead. And then that's when the servant comes over. He's like, Master Lucius, we have to go. And he goes, Lucius? And he's like, yeah, what's he, Lucius Verus, after my father?
Yeah.
And Maximus goes, oh my God.
Yeah, he kind of hides.
That's Lucilla's son. And he's like, this fucking family is back. I can't get away from this goddamn family.
I like it. He hides behind the pillar a little bit.
Yeah,
he's looking around. He's like, "Oh shit!"
Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
Your paranoia has got to spike all the way up at that point. He can't get away from the goddamn family. I have that note written down like 4 times in my notes. He can't get away from these people.
That leads to him getting that sweet ass helmet.
What a great helmet!
Oh, it's so cool.
And you know what? So that leads us to the chariot battle because Proximo is pissed. Because the people want battle fights, not just gladiator fights. They want full battle fights. And Proximo was given the Battle of Carthage, and he comments, it's the massacre of Carthage. I want a different battle, or if you're going to waste all my fighters, I want double the rate. And they're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Because how the battle's supposed to go is you have a bunch of disorganized gladiators who then get mowed down by scythe chariots. And people on the chariots shooting bows and hucking javelins. And, because the gladiators represent the barbarian hordes of Carthage, which calling Carthaginian warriors barbarians is technically incorrect because Carthage was not barbaric in nature at all. It was actually quite civilized, but that's a separate issue. While the Roman army represented in this battle were equipped with missile weapons and chariots. So it's supposed to be a slaughter.
Yeah.
But Maximus, being a seasoned general, gets his guys together. They form battle formations with their shields and their spears, and they fight back, and they win.
They kick some ass.
Do you want a historical?
Yes.
This is really messed up. Like really messed up.
I like it.
Fellow historians in the comments, and Tevis always does a Q&A. Hit me up if I'm wrong. I believe it was Caligula. Because if you're going for what is an absolutely bananas, insane, nonsensical thing to have actually happened involving a Roman emperor, it was probably Caligula. But he wanted to be in the games. And so he devised the scenario. I can't remember what hero he himself was portraying. He was like Hercules or somebody battling his way out of the underworld. Because you remember in the Hercules, or if you were Greek, Heracles, jerk off. But Hercules goes to the underworld and beats Cerberus and fights his way out, right? And so it's more something to that effect. right? But the scenario is he's portraying a great hero battling out of the underworld. And he's in full armor, weapons. He has an armored scythe chariot with a driver, and he can just kill from the back of the chariot. But they wanted to portray undead, so they rounded up all the amputees they could find. And many of these guys were former soldiers of Rome.
What?
And he went on a rampage and slaughtered these people. Well, if you can find a guy with no legs, it'll look like he's coming out of the ground. And if you can find a guy missing an arm, he looks like a shambling zombie kind of, So they gave him no equipment and basically just clothes and made them look like undead. And then Caligula butchered them for his own sadistic pleasure.
Jesus.
Yeah. And again, what is the most abundant source of amputees? Veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for your service. And also, thank you for your sacrifice. By the way.
Yeah. You want to be a part of a theater group?
We're an improv group. We're called the Butt-Ands.
Jesus. That's horrible.
Oh, yeah, that did happen. Anyway, back to Gladiator. But they defeat the other the chariots, the portrayed Roman army, and he's got the sweet helmet, and that's when Commodus wants to come and meet them. I'm slowing it down because we have to. And he's like, Spaniard, come here, and Lucius is there because Maximus sees Commodus coming and takes a broken arrow out of the sand and hides it. And he's like, I'm going to die and I'll probably get all these guys killed, but I'm going to knife Commodus in the face when he comes. But Lucius runs in front of him and that stays his hand, right? But he's like, please take off your Commodus. It's like, please take off your helmet. Tell us your name. You do have a name, right? And he's like, my name's Gladiator. And he turns his back. And he's like, slave, you don't turn your back on the emperor. I'll kill you. You will take off your helmet and you will tell us your name. So he takes off his helmet, but he hasn't turned around yet. And he's like, but when he does, and Commodus just shits him.
Oh, yeah. The look on his face.
It's like, my name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the north and the general of the Felix legions, and loyal servant to the true emperor Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. What an amazing moment.
Such a great line. Such a great moment. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
So good.
And also that helmet is super iconic. Only battle it's in is that one. We never see that helmet again.
Do we?
No, because he's identified.
Yeah, he doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it.
Holy cow.
We never see that helmet again.
So it's from this moment on, I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Except for the very end, like the battle between him and Commodus. So
now everyone knows he's alive. Commodus's mental state spirals. Lucilla realizes that she has a potential ally in the killing, at this point, the killing of Commodus. There's no other way to depose him. He has to die. So she's working with her senator allies, and they're trying to get Maximus involved. And now Commodus is also trying to devise more and more clever ways to get him killed in the Colosseum, so he won't be made a martyr. If he's a slave that just dies in the ring, he dies in the ring, whatever. So then we get the duel with Tiberius the Gaul, the only undefeated arena champion.
That announcer, I hate him, but I love him at the same time.
I love his eyebrows.
He's so fabulous. His
the
voice.
wig and the eyebrows and the voice.
Oh, the voice is so cool.
But then we have an amazing one-on-one duel
Yeah.
but there are tigers. But that was the one you were mentioning where Maximus ultimately beats him. Commodus gives the kill order. Everyone's chanting kill, and he just doesn't.
Yes.
And that's when we get Maximus the Merciful. And the people cheer, and now Commodus spirals further because he's like, what the fuck do I do? But that's when the senator that's on his side is like, there's a sea snake. I have to do this really fast, don't I?
Fire away.
God, hold on.
Stretch. Do some stretches. You need to take some breathing exercises. I hear Lamaze is really good.
After failing to kill Maximus in the arena, Commodus spirals further, and in his depression, he speaks to his only ally, a senator whose name I've forgotten because he's not that important. He's pro-emperor because he makes a shitload of money from the emperor, and he proceeds to tell him that there's a particular kind of sea snake that has an unusual way of luring its prey. It will lay at the bottom of the sea, completely still, and then its prey will approach, but he will not move, and then its prey will get even closer and still doesn't move. Then its prey will begin to take little bites out of him, and still he doesn't move, and then Commodus, being a dense asshole, is like, oh, I get it. We will just lay very still and let our enemies come to us, and we will figure out who is conspiring against us, and then we will kill them when they get too close and they get too comfortable. So then he has all the senators follow, which is really unfortunate for Lucilla because one of the senators being followed is a very pro-Senate, anti-Commodus figure who goes with Lucilla to meet Maximus as they discuss plans to depose Commodus, as Maximus will escape, get his army, come back, take over the capital, kill Commodus, and then the army will stay and the Senate will rule Rome. Except that is now all explained to Commodus because now this senator has been followed and all that is returned. While Commodus is sleeping, Lucius is sword fighting with a local servant. And it is really loud. It's late at night and they're kind of being assholes because the emperor is really tired and asleep in the bedroom. Like, why does he have an open bedroom? Why does he not have a closed room with a door you can close? He's the emperor. This is really weird. Maybe they don't have closed rooms. I don't understand how ancient Roman architecture works. But the sword fighting wakes up Commodus. Commodus then begins playing with the swords with Lucius. He's like, it's a little late to be playing legionaries because it's super late and I'm trying to sleep, you little asshole. And Lucius is like, no, I'm playing gladiators. He's like, gladiators, only slaves are gladiators and they fight in the games. Wouldn't you rather be a hero like Mark Antony? And he's like, or Maximus, the savior of Rome. And then Commodus freaks the fuck out and he holds him way too close. And he's like, where did you hear that? You will tell me who you hear that. I will shake you. And then Lucius tells him everything. So then Lucilla comes home and finds her son, her beloved son, in the clutches of her weird incestuous brother who's holding the boy and telling him stories about how Cleopatra killed herself because royal ladies do funny things when they're in love. And he's like, if you're really good, I'll tell you a story about one of our other ancestors, Emperor Claudius. And he's like, what were you doing, busy little bee? I know everything. And if you don't tell me everything, I will murder your family. I will murder everyone you've ever loved. And you will watch as I bathe in their blood. So what were you doing? So Lucille obviously spills the beans because she doesn't want her son brutally murdered and his blood, so much blood covering Commodus's wiener. So she tells him everything. The senator that was in charge of the coup is arrested, and then armed Praetorians go to the gates. And that's when they're like, Proximo, open the gate. And Proximo's like, I'm not going to open the gate. And they're like, Proximo, open the gate. And Proximo's like, I'm not going to open the gate. And they're like, Proximo, open the gate. And he's like, I can't hear you. I'm not opening the gate. And they're like, you want to die? And he's like, and he gives the keys to Maximus, and Maximus gives the keys to the other gladiators, and they're going to help Maximus escape. And Maximus is like, I only need a couple of moments. Don't be careless with your lives. I'm going to escape now. And so then all the gladiators, unarmed and unarmored, fight armed Praetorians, and they're fairly careless with their lives. And the big guy who helps train them, who ends up, he's kind of a douche, but ends up being a good guy, and he does the poison gag, and it's all very funny. He takes like 16 arrows to the chest because he's being very careless, and he dies instantly. And there's all those, a bunch of people die, but a bunch of people don't die. A bunch of people die, some people don't die. But then he sees Cicero, his friend, with the face scars and the sword, and he was like, I'm going to kill these guys. And he was like, don't kill these guys. In the tent at the beginning of the movie, the first time I did this bit, he was there on his horse. He's got fresh horses. He's going to take Maximus to Ostia to go to the army, and they're going to kill a bunch of people, and they're going to come back to Rome, and they're going to kill a bunch of people. But something looks weird, and Maximus realizes it, so he does a signal whistle. Cicero looks up, he's like, Maximus, Cicero! And that's when the horse runs off, and that's when we see Cicero is actually attached to a noose, so he begins hanging, and Maximus runs over and grabs his legs. He's like, you can breathe, friend, I will save you. And then like 16 arrows hit Cicero in the chest, and he dies instantly, and Maximus is like, fuck! And he tries to pull the sword, but there's a bunch of archers, and then a bunch of soldiers come in, and they're like, Maximus, you're captured. And then Maximus is captured, he's brought back to the arena, because Maximus can't get away from the arena or these goddamn people, as here comes Commodus! And here we are.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
The climax of the movie. Was there anything you wanted to touch on?
One thing.
Yes.
Proximo.
Blood wiener?
Whoa.
Oh,
Blood
Proximo, yeah.
Proximo, yeah, no blood wiener.
Okay. Well, bathing, he's got to
Yeah.
be nude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I get that now. It's not nearly as weird.
Hey, do you want these faster forward these lean, clean segments or not?
So I did know that Oliver Reed died
Yes.
making this movie.
Like this movie killed him?
No, his alcoholism killed him. Do you know how he died?
No.
He died drinking. He had challenged a bunch of sailors to a drinking contest in a pub in Malta. And he drank, his tab, I guess, was like over $400. He had drank so much. Obviously, he didn't pay that tab.
That bartender was pissed.
Yeah, your total will be son of a bitch. But yeah, he just dropped dead.
Yeah.
But I knew that they had used body doubles and CGI to finish filming the scenes that he was supposed to be in. So I paid close attention to when he was back on screen. And the first time you actually see his face, I was like, okay, that's not too terribly bad. But then the body double,
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, that body double's terrible.
And there's one that's clearly like a green screen composite from a different shot.
When he's walking up towards the gate
No, the one I'm thinking of is it's Maximus. You see the back of Maximus's head and part of his shoulder, and Oliver Reed is right there.
Yes.
And that's clearly some kind of composite.
Yeah. And there's another one too where I think he's actually walking up to Maximus, and you can tell really bad. It's really bad.
That's not him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's taken from another deleted scene or something, and it's terrible. But I never noticed it prior to that.
But also, you do
remember.
what you got to do. I mean,
No, I 100% agree. It's like when Brandon Lee died in
The Crow?
The Crow.
Yeah.
Rewatching that, I had a hard time. I noticed a lot of silhouettes and things like that, but nothing nearly as atrocious as Proximo. But again, like I said, I was looking for it.
But I think in certain ways, I think they did a really good way of hiding it too. With set design, particularly. Hear me out. So a lot of, let's see, like, okay, shadows and dust. We get that bit again. But the way it was shot for that one scene is it had like the curtains or, whatever the awning of that building was, but it was latticed. And so it created a really unique shadow. Well, there's no other way to replicate that shadow or for that shadow to exist. So if you look in his estate or wherever, his school where he's staying in Rome, they created the exact same lattice. So we would at least know, oh yeah, the shadow, because it's there. Like they made practical, they were like, oh shit, this shot has this effect or this shadow or
right.
Well, now we have to kind of design the new stuff around the footage we have. So they actually did take some care in matching it up as best they could.
Yeah, and I'm sure they were on a time crunch, and
one of your lead actors dies.
Yeah, you do what you got to do, and again, like I said, I wasn't looking for it previously, so it never really stood out to me that I ever remember. But
and how much of this is also we're now watching a 23-year-old movie in a higher definition than it was ever intended for, right?
Exactly.
Because we've caught a few like Die Hard and the foot.
The rubber feet.
The rubber feet. And yeah, we've caught a few things that in its day, in its intended resolution, you'd never see.
Right. I agree. But that was the only thing. I didn't want to touch on the wiener blood.
Nobody wants to touch wiener blood. Ow. So Maximus is now chained underneath the arena. The crowd is there, and you can hear them chanting for Maximus. And Commodus comes in all white armor clothes, like a real ass.
Looks like a douche,
doesn't he? And he's got his Praetorian Guard, and he's like, Maximus, and he's teasing him. He's like, this is where your story ends. You're not the savior of Rome. You're the savior of nothing. I'm going to kill you in the arena. And everyone's going to love me for it, and you're going to be forgotten. And and Maximus starts laughing. And he's like, I had a friend who once said, death smiles at us all. And all we can do is smile back. So Commodus says, oh, yeah? Well, did your friend smile at his own death? And Maximus goes, well, you should know it was your father. Like, oh my God. Burn. But Commodus clearly knowing. No, we see Commodus train some, like he's not a trained fighter, but he's not also unfamiliar with a blade.
No, he does. He handles himself pretty well, but he's not.
Against a normal person, he'd kick their ass.
Yeah.
Against a trained, not even just Maximus, against a trained soldier or a trained gladiator, not a chance.
No.
Because what's when you look at like the actual slave rebellion led by Spartacus, one of the reasons that Spartacus's army did so well. Are you familiar with it? Because they won a bunch of battles before they were ultimately defeated and dispersed and everything.
Yeah, no, not familiar.
Well, originally they were like, oh, it's a bunch of slaves, send the recruits. So they sent untrained soldiers. So untrained soldiers getting their first taste of battle against seasoned gladiators. People whose lives have been training and fighting. So once the battle commenced, it was a slaughter. It was like a bunch of grown men walked into a third grade classroom and started throwing uppercuts, right? They're like, oh, just fight all these third graders. No, so you had a bunch of untrained people against professional fighters, and it was no contest. So then they're like, oh, well, we got to send actual troops. And they beat them too. So then they had to send like elite veterans and ultimately trapped. But that was the thing, is even gladiators against professional soldiers, the gladiators won because all their lives was to eat, sleep, and live combat. So Commodus knows, like, oh, I can't fight that guy. Stabs him. Gives him the old one-eyed Jimmy right in the ribs.
Piece of shit.
Stab. It also looks like he stabs him like a letter opener. He's just like, your bills are past due.
It's like, I just opened up my cable bill. So, hang on a minute.
Oh, yeah, I got to do this real quick. There's this thing I have to do real quick. Stab. And he's like, strap on his armor, conceal the wound.
And then looks over at Quintus. Make sure you pay that cable bill, please.
Oh, yeah, and pay that cable bill. So then they rise to the center of the Colosseum on that big
was so
lift.
cool.
It was so cool. But Maximus is like, oh God, I'm dying. But Commodus is like looking up to the heavens as the light bathes down. You're like, look at this tool.
Little shit.
What is this asshole doing? But you know what? Commodus and Maximus give us a good fight scene. But at no point in time is Commodus in control of it. They have some good back and forth. Maximus does take a slash, right?
Yeah.
Like, Maximus gets cut, but he returns the cut to Commodus, who drops his sword. But then Maximus is dying, and he's back to the Elysium fields.
Yes.
And the door to his villa. And he drops his sword because he's reaching for a door in the afterlife. And that's when Commodus pulls the letter opener out of his gauntlet or his bracer or whatever. And then Maximus, like a man with his bare hands, beats the shit out of him with his hands like a man.
Well, even Commodus, too, he asks for one of the other soldiers a sword, and they don't give it to him.
Yeah, Quintus is nope.
No, he shuts that shit down.
Because I think Quintus realized he's on the wrong side.
Yes.
Quintus went, am I a baddie? Am I one of the baddies?
He sounded like Eddie Izzard.
Well, those of you who get that reference will get that reference. Or if you're just an Eddie Izzard fan and you're like, that guy sounds like Eddie Izzard. Am I a baddie? But yeah, so Quintus, the leader of the Praetorian Guard, refuses to, let any of them give Commodus a sword. But that's when he pulls his letter opener. And then Maximus is like, you and your cable bill can catch these hands.
Yeah. And then he stabs him in the throat with his own.
Yeah, so he's got the
opener.
blade, but then the blade is still in Commodus's hand, but he catches his hand and then gets his free arm on the inside of Commodus's elbow and just levers Commodus's arm and knife into his own throat. I'm like, yep, that's brutal.
That's great.
Awesome.
I loved it.
And then, spoiler, Maximus dies.
What?
Yeah. Again, all the... So, wait.
What about Gladiator 2?
Our protagonist dies. Our antagonist dies. Many of the supporting cast dies. Who is left for the second one?
Lucilla? Not
Lucilla. We also didn't touch on any of the... our show has a lot of incest adjacency for some reason.
It's not our show. It's the movies that we... Okay, so it's the movies that our show picks.
So if you don't know what we're talking about because you're new to the show, hit up the backlog. I'm not going to go into incest adjacency. But this was not incest adjacent. Commodus straight up tells his sister, "You are going to bear me an heir. You will love me the way I loved you. You will provide me a child of pure blood." That's not incest adjacent. That's just incest.
That's just, yeah, you could just drop that adjacent.
Survey says incest.
Yeah, it got real uncomfortable when he's laying on top of her and he's like putting his fingers in her mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And then he's like drawn like an infinity. So he's just rubbing his fingertip across like her top boob, like her upper boob.
And then he falls asleep.
Yeah. He probably came. What? We were all thinking it.
You're not wrong.
He was just like, my sister's boob. Sleep now.
That's spot on.
No one has ever touched Commodus's wiener. I'm saying
Except him.
Maybe.
Oh, I'm sure he has.
Frequently and vigorously.
I love the ending scene when all the slaves and that senator comes out.
Yeah.
And they pick up Maximus.
Because Lucilla's like, he was a soldier of Rome who will honor him. And that's when the senator's like, who's going to help me carry him? And they all hoist him up on their shoulder.
Did you notice they're all walking away? Lucilla's got her back turned. And behind her is her brother laying on the ground.
Commodus is just in the sand.
In this dead as shit. And nobody cares.
No one gives a
And they all have their back to him.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so fitting.
Oh, yeah. And then Maximus rejoins his family in the afterlife.
Gets prepared for Gladiator 2.
Which Russell Crowe returns. So, a few things I do want, just in general, that I want to talk about is I really appreciate Russell Crowe. We talked about it with A Beautiful Mind. If you haven't listened to that one, check that one out. Russell Crowe gives a fantastic performance. Playing obviously a wildly different character in this movie. But for me, always believable. I'm never taken out of it.
Even when he's happy?
Is he ever happy in this movie?
I'm not sure what part he's talking about.
I do want to get to that and get your thoughts on opinions I have.
Okay.
But I want to appreciate, because you watch this and you're like, yeah, Russell Crowe's in shape. But like Kurt Russell, like Bruce Willis, like a lot of our favorite leading men, it's not comically over the top, unbelievable in shape.
No, he's just a dude.
He's just like, he's just an everyman, but you can tell he's like, yeah, he's in good shape, but like that's a realistic good shape.
Yeah.
Like his arms have definition. He doesn't have, a bunch of excess flab, but he doesn't look like goddamn Macho Man either. Right.
Yeah, he doesn't look like somebody's actually carved him out of stone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he has
doesn't
muscles on muscles on muscles.
And I like Chris Hemsworth. This is not a jab at Chris Hemsworth, but especially like when he's playing Thor in particular, and you're like, oh, look at this massively unrealistic idea of a man, which everyone talks about. Hollywood's love of unrealistic portrayals of women.
Oh, they have unrealistic portrayals of men.
No one's talking about the unrealistic portrayals of men, and this is horse shit that I don't look like goddamn Chris Evans. And we've talked about this before. Even if I exercised and ate right and did everything I was supposed to, my physical genetics are not good. And even if I did everything right, I still wouldn't look like them. That is an unrealistic expectation.
Oh, that's why I take depression pills.
We could just exercise more.
Depression pills help.
Yeah, it makes it easier.
It does.
But no, I like that Maximus is in shape, but like, man, if I could look like I could look like Max, you could look like Maximus. That is not unrealistic.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. And we need more of that.
Yeah.
100%.
I like our everyman heroes. They're in shape and they can kick ass, but they're not Thor. They're not Captain America. They're not, whoever.
And I think some of the superhero movies get a pass because obviously they're superheroes.
Yeah. But it's still setting a trend that's still pretty healthy as far as this wildly unrealistic expectation for men's bodies.
It's like when you put Dwayne Johnson in that movie Skyscraper where he, I have the one leg. I'm like every other, I'm being inclusive. Motherfucker, you are a mountain.
Right?
No.
The Rock is no longer a title. That's a state of being you've attained. You're not, even with the prosthetic, you're not an everyman.
No, you are bigger than my truck. Okay? So let's stop with that everyman bullshit.
Right? Yeah.
Hang out with me. Let's eat some cheeseburgers and fries and not work out. Then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we need more of that. We need more of just the everyman saving the day.
And in a good, healthy, not over the top, in shape.
Right.
Yeah.
We almost need just the flabby Chris Farley superhero, Give me one of those. Just one. Just one.
Hey, for our next movie, we'll watch Beverly Hills Ninja.
Oh, God. Never mind. I don't want that anymore.
Oh, okay. I thought I'd ask. What else were we going to talk about? You had said something. I was like, we're going to get there. We had just covered it.
We did. It was the chariot thing you were talking about.
No, we did that
or
already.
Caligula.
We did that too.
I don't know then.
Maximo?
I already got
Damn
that.
it. Hold on. It's coming to me. I wanted to get your opinion on something.
Oh, yeah. My opinion on your opinion.
Oh. I remember. Fucking Ebert.
Oh.
So, and he's not the only one, but a lot of the critics of this movie are like, everyone's depressed. This isn't dramatic. It's just a bunch of miserable people being miserable. And that is, in this instance, viewed as a critique. And I feel like they missed the plot. This movie, it's Rome. It's set in Rome. I get that, but I'm going to use the term. It is through and through a traditional Greek tragedy. What we have is a protagonist through some action of his own, some through fate, some through, if you want to view it as fate, if you want to view it as happenstance, if you want to view it as bad luck. However, but now we have a tragic and sympathetic hero who goes on a quest for vengeance and doesn't alter from that course. And here's where it becomes a true, by definition, Greek tragedy. He had an opportunity to survive, but he never alters his course. He never learns the lesson he needs to learn to save his own life. In this case, to let it go. Now, granted, in this example, it would be incredibly difficult. I wouldn't let it go either. I'd watch the entire world burn as I bled to death, right? But that's the definition of a Greek tragedy, is we have a protagonist who dies at the end because they didn't learn their lesson.
Okay.
Ultimately, he goes into it under the guise of different reasoning. It's no longer about personal vengeance. It's about saving Rome. It's about saving our great nation. It's about saving the people from a tyrant. It's about this. It's about that. A, is it? B, doesn't even matter if that's true. He didn't learn the lesson of letting go and to stop the path he's on. He continues down the same path. He just calls a duck by a different name. But it still quacks. It still waddles. It's still a duck. And that quest for Commodus to die leads him to also get killed. So it's a traditional Greek tragedy in that aspect. Maximus Decimus Meridius is a quintessential definition Greek tragedy protagonist. He's not meant to be happy. It's almost literally not allowed. Now, he has moments of levity, like when he's with Lucius and he's doing kind of like the pro wrestler thing, when he's joking with his gladiator buddies, when he's joking with Proximo. He has moments of levity when he's with Lucilla and they kiss and they're having a passionate moment. They rekindled their love, and he's got that passion. He's got that, but he's not. He can't be happy anymore. We have Lucilla. Well, she's never happy. You're right, because she was born into a life of career politics. Show me any career politician that's happy. A. B. Her father sucks. And her brother is worse.
And her husband died.
Her husband's dead. She's trying to raise her son.
She's scared out of her mind.
Constantly.
Why
is she happy? We have characters that... Commodus is Commodus. We're not even going to get into that, right? We have Marcus Aurelius, who is also... Because we have him, and he's an old man who knows he's nearing the imminent end of his life, and he's looking back going... My son sucks. He can't rule in my stead. I've been an emperor for, 25 years?
Known 20 years of war.
Yeah, he's like...
He's had 4 years of peace.
4 years of peace. Am I going to be remembered as a butcher, as a tyrant? He is a very real man looking back on his life with a lot of regret. To me, it's not fair to say we have characters who aren't happy, because they all have moments of happy. Even Marcus, when he's just chilling with Maximus and Maximus is telling him about his home and his wife, and
that makes him happy.
Marcus is happy in that moment, but we have a lot of deeply troubled characters who are going through a lot of really heavy shit in a very classic Roman and or Greek theatrical style. The characters in this movie are very old classic original Greek Roman theater style characters.
It's almost like you say you don't like this movie because nobody's happy, but why does somebody have to be happy for it to be a good movie, like a good character?
Right.
I mean, there's other emotions other than happy, and there's other emotions that are portrayed in this movie other than sadness.
And
there's a wide range
just because
of things happening.
And just why, okay, if someone is depressed, Maximus saw the bodies of his butchered family. He is, in fact, depressed.
Yeah.
So
is he just supposed to snap out of it?
Why is it? So, okay, he is depressed. How does that take away from the dramatic moments he experiences?
Yeah, because, I mean, he does, like you said, he has moments where I believe he's genuinely happy hanging out with his gladiator friends, joking around.
Joking about the poison in the food.
Yeah.
With
Proximo, he has a moment with them.
They have
with him.
He has quiet introspective, especially once he gets the little figurines he carried around of his wife and son, and he's praying again, and he's talking to them, and he's introspective. He's reserved and quiet in those moments. We've seen fiery anger. We see passion and love. But at the end of the day, he is down.
Yeah, it just seems to me like he has all these wide range of emotions, and you just want to beat him up because he's not overly happy.
Right. Lucilla lives in an ever-present waking nightmare of paranoia and fear. You're right. She's not doing back handsprings.
Yeah. She's in a shit predicament. And I mean, even Proximo, like he's
just kind of a bitter old bastard.
Yeah.
He's a salty, bitter old cuss, but he still has moments of levity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's basically in it for money. I mean, he has no higher aspirations
Till the end.
till the very end. Yeah, but I think that's only because him and Maximus became close.
Yeah. There was a friendship there.
Exactly.
So why are critics hammering a drama that is written, shot, and portrayed in a classical theatrical tragedy sense for having tragic characters? Have I lost my mind?
I mean, it'd be like watching the Avengers and going, there's too many damn superheroes in this son of a bitch.
Well, okay, to be fair, when we did Jurassic Park, they were like, there are too many
Oh,
dinosaurs in this dinosaur movie.
You got a point. You got a point.
Fuck is wrong with you
Yeah.
people? Why are you so bad at this?
You know what? The longer we do this, the more I realize that the critics that are getting paid way more than we are
Not bitter at all about it,
don't really know what the hell they're doing.
right?
And I honestly, I think that some of them go to the theater to watch all these movies and they just quickly type out a bunch of bullshit and they don't really care one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because in the end, I mean, honestly, what's it matter to them?
A mindless spectacle to please the multitudes. A, don't use multitudes, you tool. B, if you get past the surface level you assholes watch this movie at, again, it's like so many of the other movies we have watched movies and we have criticized them for one-dimensional characters. Gladiator is not one-dimensional. These characters are not one-dimensional.
Not at all.
Why are these critics wrong all the time?
I'm beginning to think, like I said, I'm beginning to think they just churn out shit after shit after shit because one, they have to, and two, they maybe they're bored. Maybe they're bored with their jobs. I don't know.
This show has made me hate movies and myself more than once.
Think about it. I know there's jobs that I've done in the past where I'm just like, I just want to get through this day.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I don't care about this report. I don't give a shit if this register comes out correct. I just want to get out of here and I want to go home.
Yeah.
And I think maybe sometimes
That's
they're just like, God, I don't know. I can't think of anything halfway good to say about this. Screw it. We'll just type up something super quick, send it to the editor and be like, I'm done.
yeah.
And then, I mean, it's an opinion piece most of the time anyway. So
I guess that's true, but why are their opinions wrong?
I guess we'll have to ask Ebert.
You know, and when they're like, there's no such thing as a wrong opinion. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there definitely is.
When you give, would they give Gladiator 2 stars?
2 stars.
Yeah. When you give Gladiator 2 stars, you need to reevaluate. Maybe you need to be handing me a McFlurry instead of reviewing movies.
Wow. Shots fired. All right. Final thoughts. We'll wrap up here. But no, I did just want to get your thoughts. Like, am I overthinking this?
No, not at all.
I'm not crazy, am I?
Well, yeah, but different reasons.
But I'm not wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Oh, okay.
Final thoughts. I don't think it's going to be a huge shock here, but yeah, this movie is definitely worth the ticket price. Going into it, like I said, totally forgot. Like, I was legitimately thinking he was going to join up with his army and come back, and I was like, oh my God, yes, this is going to be amazing. It's going to
The
be
Siege of Rome.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. Oh, this is going to be. I'm like, oh, wait, that dude is on a horse. That doesn't look quite right. Oh, the noose.
Yeah.
And then it all kind of came back to me. I'm like, oh, okay, I remember now. So he's going to fight, in the Coliseum with Commodus, but it was fun. It was really fun. And man, my note taking in this was shit.
Even more than normal.
But even more than normal. But I enjoyed every minute of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew there were parts that, like when they first get introduced to Proximo, I remember watching it the first time thinking, man, this is kind of slow and a little bit boring. But watching it again, I did not feel that at all.
Yeah.
I was not bored one time. every single actor in this movie is top notch. Joaquin Phoenix got robbed.
Hello, police. There was a robbery at the Oscars.
Yes. No, this is Ridley Scott's best movie, I think. Absolutely. It's a tough decision, but I love Alien, but I just think this movie has everything.
Especially when you look at, as far as like Ridley Scott's best, when you look at the scale
Oh, absolutely.
of Gladiator versus Alien. And it's still some directors and filmmakers take on something like this, an ambitiously sized production, and it gets away from them. And you can tell there was probably some overwhelming moments, and it shows, and it's usually bad. Not this. It's handled so well.
Yeah, with all the shit that he had to go through with one of his actors dying, and because I did read something where Proximo and Maximus were supposed to fight it out in the Colosseum at the end, as Commodus was going to make them two fight it out, but they had to rewrite everything.
Yeah,
because of, obviously, now how true that is, I don't know. But
man, I can't even picture that. That would be wildly different.
Would be weird. I wonder how good that would have been. Maybe
I'm sure it would have been fine.
Maybe Oliver Reed dying was a blessing to this movie.
Man, we're on a tightrope right now, and I'm not even gonna.
No, I know. I'm just speculating.
Yeah,
speculating.
Yeah. I do want to know if that's true though. Like, how would Commodus still have died? And if so, how? Or would Proximo and Maximus both die as we just watch Commodus sit victoriously from his Emperor's box? What a dick kick that would be.
That would have been... I don't think it would have won Best Picture.
And you know what? That kind of ending would have been the ultimate in Greek tragedy.
Oh, yes. That probably would have made Roger Ebert's head explode.
No, he'd have given it a bajillion stars.
Nobody would have been happy.
Oh, yeah, Commodus would have been happy. We finally had a happy character.
Yeah.
Final thoughts? Great movie. Gladiator is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, see it. It's definitely worth the ticket price. And you know what? Okay, to me, I have a soft spot for those old claymation movies, Jason and the Argonauts.
Oh,
not the Christmas ones. I know you hate those, you soulless fuck.
Eyes as dark as night, teeth filed to fangs, soulless.
Oliver Reed's death was a blessing. Heartless. The Reed family listened to this show. But no, those old school, like the Seven Voyages of Sinbad and the Golden Voyage of Sinbad and Jason and the Ark. I love those movies. Still do. Still love them. And then I think of more modern takes like Gladiator, like 300. Not the sequel. That movie sucks. But the original 300 with Gerard Butler. And honestly, Braveheart. And we need more sword and sandal. This should be a genre that is brought back more prevalently. I don't think I said that word right. Prevalently.
Oh.
Am I saying it right? I don't know. But I
understand what you mean.
What if whether it's Greek wars, whether it's gladiator fights or Roman wars, or whether you've got just mythology, and we're following Hercules as he throws hands with the Hydra, or just whatever. We need more of this. We need so much more of this. And there's so much you could do with this stuff.
We probably would have got more if it wasn't for Clash of the Titans and Wrath of the Titans.
So, okay, OG
No.
Clash of the Titans, love that movie.
Sam Worthington.
I know, I know what I'm saying. OG Clash
Oh,
of the
yeah.
Titans. I love that movie.
Me too.
Sam Worthington, Clash, and Wrath of Titans. They're fine. They're enjoyable.
Meh.
Wrath, not so much.
Yeah.
But the Clash it's fine.
It has its moments.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe that is what killed it a little bit.
If we're going to let one movie kill a genre, there shouldn't be movies, especially horror movies.
That's what they did with the pirate movies there for a while. What was the one with Gina Davis and Matthew Modine? There was a pirate movie and it bombed hard.
Oh, I have no idea.
And I mean, there was not another pirate movie for years and years and years and years.
Yeah, but that's okay too. Because you reach a point like, okay, Pirates of the Caribbean came out. There's 15 of them, and they're widely popular. And now that series is at its end. Cool, let it breathe. But you're also looking at one example where you have one insanely popular film within that genre that's so all-encompassing. Everything else is either going to pale in comparison or be viewed as a copycat. So let that series have its time to shine. Let it end. Let it breathe. Right?
True.
You know, if we wanted to do not Harry Potter. I don't like Harry Potter. All the potheads out there, whatever. Your fandom sucks. But if we now wanted to bring about some other story, coming of age story about a kid and magic and, you know, whatever, cool, let's do it. We could do that. Harry Potter is that has, we've had enough breathing room from the Harry Potter series that something new or multiple new things could take its place, right? There's room for Sword and Sandal.
Oh, I agree.
And I don't think we have anything so good or so bad to ruin it right now.
Hopefully Gladiator 2.
That's weird though. Everyone's dead.
Yes, I know. I'm worried. I am worried. But
in so many movies, I feel like it's like, oh, it's a sequel. Yeah, but you could just make it its own thing and not connect it at all and just be like, yeah, it's just,
I agree.
It's a Gladiator movie without being Gladiator 2.
Yeah.
Right?
And I feel like, honestly, Gladiator 2
makes it sound worse.
It does make it sound terrible.
Right? Just be like, oh yeah, this is our movie, Blood in the Arena. And, you know, and just whatever, just don't let it have its own existence. Don't force it to try to succeed in the shadow of its big brother here.
Yeah. I hope they change the name.
Yeah, Gladiator 2 is terrible. That sucks.
It is. Maybe Gladiators.
That's the Predators this year.
I know, but something different.
But you get what I'm saying, you know.
2.
So no. Gladiator, great. Sword and Sandal, great. We need more of these. They're action-packed. They're different. Let's do it.
I'm on board.
I'm talking to you, Tevis. Let's make
one.
You and me, leather tunics, lots of exposed skin, sword fighting.
I thought we were cutting the fat.
Oh, we'll be cutting fat, all right. We'll be cutting a lot of fat.
God.
All right. So, do you want to draw our next movie out of the hat? Do you want me to?
It's your turn.
All right. Hold on. Shit. Can I redraw from the hat?
What? What did you get?
How did this get in the hat, first of all? Did you put this in the hat?
I put all kinds of stuff in there.
Why?
Because I just put a variety of stuff. Some stuff that's popular, other stuff that nobody knows anything about. I even think I got Popeye in there. I don't know.
Well, you better after all that shit you gave Shelley Duvall. No, our next movie is The Fast and the Furious. Paul Walker.
The fucking Vin Diesel shit.
Family. It's all about family. Loyalty and family. All right, hold on. I'm about to give us the best outro, or at least the quickest outro. Let me stretch.
This is our last episode we are ever doing.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't you know it? I drew the "in the show" out of the hat. We have to not do this anymore.
Oh my God. Oh,
I mean, hold on.
all right.
Should I do the bit one more time for
Do
this
it.
episode? Hold
Stretch.
on. Okay, hold on. I get ready. Oh, my bone. Actually, my elbow just taunted. It hurts real bad. I'm an old man and I shouldn't be doing these things. Thank you all for listening. We are Ticket Price. I am Jake. That is Tevis. This has been Gladiators. We're watching the Russell Crowe Classic. It's a great movie. You should definitely watch it. We both agree it's worth the ticket price. Next up is Fast and the Furious, a movie about cars and family and loyalty and Vin Diesel and his big stupid head. We want to take a moment to thank you all for listening. We are on Patreon if you want. Go ahead, give us a subscribe. We appreciate your support. If not, that's okay too. Just be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with us, communicate with us in the question and answer section, as well as let your family and friends know that, hey, there's this great show where two idiots talk about movies and you really enjoy it. We want to thank you all for listening. I'm Jake, that's Tevis. This is Ticket Price. Tune in next week for Fast and the Furious. And as always, be good to each other and have a great day.